Hey, how's it going, boys? What is up? Sora's back once again, and this is a late video. I apologize because I was actually waiting for the part 2 to be released before I put this up. So, which Juten should I use? Pick. Use? Yeah. Which Juten should I pick video? Yes. This is that video. This is catered to different audiences, I would have to say. For this specific part, this first part is for your very first Juten. If you have never gotten a single Juten yet, this is the part for you. So, if you're in that position, this will not be available to you. Because if I recall correctly, you can only get a gold brick if you have at least one Juten. So, yeah. If you're wondering the usage of each of these characters, especially if you're relatively new and you have 0 Jutens or whatever shit, all I can say is probably your number one pick would definitely be Sarasa, because Sarasa, ground 0, enough said. If you don't know what that means, just look at wiki and find out what this ground 0 does, because that's all you need to know. Besides that, a lot of the other characters is kind of like whatever though. If you're just grabbing them for like, if you really want to use them, especially if you're like you have no Jutens at all, Uno doesn't do shit. Song is Pepega as hell, but if you're at that point, you know what? I'll say that. I'll say this part later. Song doesn't do shit for you, especially if you're new. Katoru as well. Funfu kind of, but doesn't do shit too. 6, yes. 6 can actually do something if you're building like into dark or whatever shit as your first element. I'm not sure why you're doing that, but if you're doing that, I guess 6 kind of helps, because max limit break 6 is still relatively strong. And then, if you want to compare to the event version, you can kind of use the event version, but he's not that great. I'm pretty certain you may have already come to this video after my impressions video or some shit, but yeah, the event version is not that great if you really want someone to really hard carry you in the beginning or whatever, as using your dark team. 6 is really great for that. But if you really want to just focus on just plain farming, Sarasa is probably your best pick. But besides that, Octo and Siete is kind of like somewhat in the same boat, I would say, because they're both, if you actually do get them, they're both probably in that pack where you just want them to just help you OTK or like just Ogi a lot more and stuff like that. But in that case, if you really want, I would say Siete would probably help you a little bit more, because you probably don't even have grids done yet at that time, and Siete does give you like raw damage and stuff because of his passive, and he has extra firepower on his own, so he should be hitting relatively hard, because he also can nuke. And if you do manage to get him to 3 stacks, which is honestly I would say is relatively hard or somewhat doable state, you can also use his S3 and then he can still do like a full Ogi for you, for your team and shit, so it does help. Octo is someone like that, but the only difference is that Octo is a little bit harder to use, because a lot of the stuff that makes him more viable is on his full limit break version. He doesn't really gain like crazy amount of meter and stuff. He doesn't Ogi super hard. His S1 is not as strong as his full limit break version and shit, but he still has that 200 meter and he still can kind of hit relatively hard if you use his S1. So yeah, it kind of helps, but I wouldn't really say you want to put that as priority. Neo, just ignore. And a lot of people seem to say Esther is a good pick for early game or the first Juten because of her stupid ass boost item drop rate shit, but all I can say is that is absolute dog shit. You don't really need that. That 5% boost is really not gonna help you that much, man. If you really want to focus on farming Sarasa, is much better for you, because you can just ground 0 stuff, you just leech with ground 0. Or you could also use her for your Akaram stuff, because you definitely need to progress Akaram too, right? So that's why for your first Juten, I would definitely highly suggest Sarasa, because ground 0 is your best friend. Yes. And now for the second part of this video, if you're that kind of guy who at least have 1 or 2 or maybe like a few recruited Jutens already, or maybe you have also like 1 Eternal or Juten already at full limit break, if you're already at that point, all I can say is that Uno is still shit for you. Uno is still shit. Song though, Song is a little bit special, continuing to what I was about to say earlier. Song is somewhat special because if you have not done your Gilbert yet, she can help you. If you have not done that at least. If you have not done that, of course. Or if you have somehow already kind of like in that position where, actually no, this is the third part. I almost mixed up with both parts. But yeah, if you're only using them as a max limit break, yeah, Song is actually okay. Song is okay to use to help with your Gilbert and stuff. But that's pretty much it, I think. There's not much else to say about that. And well, at this point, if you're already at this point and you do not have Sarasa yet, you should just fucking just uninstall the goddamn game because you're playing the game wrongly. I have no idea what the hell you've been trying to do. Yeah, moving on. Katoru, still shit. Funfu, maybe not. Funfu is still somewhat usable if you still somewhat need like a healer and shit like that. And another thing is that if you still have not run or cleared Fasan or whatever, which is the hardest raid in the game, or Lucifer, whichever you want to call it, if you still don't know why I'm still calling it Fasan, that is, or Lucilius, whichever you want to call it, holy shit. Funfu Max Limit Break is still somewhat usable for that, if you want to go with that, because she can still clear everything, and she can still somewhat heal. It's just not as strong, she doesn't have the revitalize stuff, and shit like that. Her third skill still works the same. So she doesn't have a fourth skill, but still that doesn't really matter. You can technically just kind of want her clear for the beginning part and then her heals and stuff like that. So she can kind of debuffs as well. She still has Dispel on Ogi, so that's why it's still somewhat usable. So if you still kind of have problems trying to clear Fasa with light and you need like a sustainer or whatever stuff, Max Limit Break Funfu still definitely helps. So if you're in that point, yeah, you can consider Funfu as well. For 6, literally the same thing I mentioned at the beginning. If you're at that point, you just want to like min-max like your dark or whatever at that point, 6 definitely still helps, even especially when you already have your grid up and running already. 6 will definitely help you to be like your main DPSer, because he still hits really fucking hard. Just not as hard as his full limit break version, but he still hits hard because he has his third skill. Wait, not third skill, sorry. He has his passive thingy. For some reason, I'm still thinking his old version, but yeah, his passive thingy, his Gate of Demons shit, his old passive thing, his the thing that increases turn by turn, and then his S1 still provides you echo and shit, and he can still tank and dodge stuff on his S2, so not as many hits, but he can still do that, so it's still relatively nice. Siete Octo still runs in the same explanation as I said earlier. Even though you're already still relatively kind of like geared toward that already. If it's just more like if for Siete, right, if you still have problems trying to get like raw damage up and running, right, Siete is just probably gonna help you a little bit for that one, to actually just get you up to for consistency purposes. He doesn't really give too much cap, but yeah, consistency. It's more because he adds he does add like the Ogi damage to your team, so if you need that, it helps, right? Similar goes for Octo. If you need that extra boost of extra Ogi or whatever, and you have like your own fish or some shit like that, or if you just want to put him in the last slot and you're using what's that, Croissant, Chrysor, or even Kango, whichever, Rising Force, yeah, and then you can just make that work if you want. If you just need him for OTK, basically, he can still kind of help for his Max Limit Break version. Neo, once again, is still kind of like, she does buff a little bit. The coma is still there, but like, there's no reason for you to use her because she's still relatively weak. The most you want to use her is only when she gets to full limit break. As the same shit. If you're already at this point, you still don't have Asa, you can just continue ignoring her. You really don't need it. Okay, so the last part of this video I wanted to say is that if you're already at that point and you're just looking for this, similar to the gold brick one, if you just somehow want to just get the the fragments thingy, right? Let's just say you already farmed the one weapon to max, right? Before you even max that out, right? So what you could technically do, you could just literally get this. You can recruit them, and you fully upgraded one weapon. Let's just say you already did that, right? You already farmed like 4 max limit break weapon, and you haven't recruited them yet, right? You could technically, this is the part for you. So this is the part where you want to just use this so you can get a full limit break Juten up and running. Okay, this is just for that. Uno is still somewhat being used, somewhat, very rarely these days, but he's still okay. He can still somewhat do something. You don't really need him like majority of the days these days, unfortunately, because there's a lot of water characters that kind of outclass him these days. So, I mean, you can still kind of get him for like the whole. Actually, no, it's not really that great anymore. Yeah, you can technically kind of ignore him though. He's like, these days he's kind of like one of the last few you could probably think about. If you just want him for like his S3 or like and stuff like that, I guess you can consider, but he's not really that nice anymore, unfortunately. I mean, I still kind of use him sometimes, but still not that much anymore, because I'm so nowadays, because I'm a Magna user, right? I'm mostly just catered to like just you running like a staff grid or whatever shit, and I'm just using staff characters, and Uno is not that, unfortunately. So yeah. Song full limit break. There's only one thing I can say. Baha HL. Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, pretty much using here just for Baha HL, nothing else. Just use your debuff team, put song in there, full limit break, extend, blah blah blah, and you call it a day. And then you put that wonderful special text to just attract your lovely dark races, dark soldier races, and then, you know, for your daily host and shit, and call it a day. Ground zero. I called us Ground Zero, goddamn. Sarasa full limit break Sarasa. Okay, full limit break Sarasa is still pretty nice because you can use her. She has a much bigger, larger cap for a Ground Zero, which is relatively nice because you can use that for Akarum. You can use her for Akarum, which makes things a lot easier, especially in EX Plus, and not to mention in EX Plus Akarum. I mean Extreme. Especially if you have the likes of Kame or you have the likes of Lunalu to copy that Ground Zero to make things even better, because those characters can copy her upgraded Ground Zero version. That's why they will have a much higher cap as well. So it makes things a lot easier. And or for some reason, if you want to run fast on your crew or some shit, and you're in that position where nobody has a fucking plane damage shit, like not having Zeta, not having Helmel, not having Valentine Clarice, not having whatever, blah blah blah, all the other characters that does plane damage. For some reason, your crew is in that situation, then yeah, you can get Sarasa for that too, because you can run her and Octo and shit, and get it to, you know, do the plane damage. Labor 7 shit. Yeah. Quadre full limit break. It's kind of like a mixed bag, I would say, but still probably one of the most unused Jutens in the game right now, I think, because you technically kind of use him for like what, Fasan at most. I feel like that's like the only time you probably make full use out of him, just Fasan, or I guess the Great Wall Fire thing if you are lacking of characters like me and shit. Because that's what I used him for as well, but besides that, not too much really. Yeah, it's kind of like a mixed bag either way. Funfu. Funfu's 5-star is actually really nice. She's like a really good sustained character. She can heal so fucking well. She can clear. She can give you auto revive and shit, or guts or whatever stuff. You know, she still has all that, and she does slightly better debuffs, I guess, on Ogi. Yeah, she's alright. She's if you need that kind of character, I guess you can. I mean, she kind of helps with what's that? in Fasan as well, because you can push yourself much better. Because I think if I recall correctly, her cooldowns did get reduced. Yeah, so if you're in that position where you got Geisenborger already, right? It's just so happened you got Geisenborger. I think Funfu helps a lot because her cooldown is much lower, and then it allows you to keep his stupid buff up and running, you know, his whatever fortress skill, third skill, whatever shit. Makes it a lot easier to keep it up. To keep that thing consistently running, yes. My fucking brain. Yeah. So if you're in that position, Funfu is great. 6 full limit break. I do not need to say anything. He's probably still the best fucking DPSer for Dark. You definitely want him. If you really want that kind of character, go get him. His full limit break is poof! One-man army. No, there's really nothing for me to say about him. Siete. Siete is super strong. Once he gets to full limit break, his passive is great. His whole rotating, the whole pass stacks thingy upgraded. His S1 got upgraded. His Ogi S4 is super strong and shit. Everything about him, his upgrades of full limit break is really strong. And if you're still relatively in that position where your win doesn't have really like a lot of characters yet or some shit at that point, and also you kind of want to make your OTK a lot stronger, Siete is definitely your man because he gives you more Ogi damage, I think, and extra cap as well. So it's pretty good. And not to mention, you have to keep in mind that his stacks is also unique and he goes up to 5 stacks as well. So capping with him is not going to be a problem because his you can definitely tell that his stacks will always be it's very easy for him to get to max stacks, put it that way. And his unique attack modifier just makes him really, really strong, and he has 100% triple or whatever shit. Yeah, he's great. He's really strong. Octo, on the other hand, well, he's a much bigger boy. Uncle, not boy. He's a much bigger uncle than he already is. He's a much bigger dude. Very, very big. Once he gets the full limit break, he's I mean, he's like that one Juten that everyone's been using ever since he got rebalanced, right? That rebalance was like super long ago, if I recall correctly. Yeah, it was like really, really long ago. And that upgrade made him into that absolute beast, right? And then he's like in the like the meta for like so freaking long. I think it only started to somewhat shift him away in December last year because we have 2 crazy strong Earth characters. One is on the overlay, the other one is called Magisa, and they are both limited characters. So yeah, you have those 2 characters that somewhat can shift him away, but he's still really, really strong regardless. He can gain meter like crazy. He can just consistently give meter to your party members. He can just press his S1 and get insane amount of cap on his Ogi and shit. He can easily do like what 12 million damage or whatever shit on his double Ogi stuff. Whew! God damn, he is still a beast nonetheless. So if you still want that kind of guy, by all means, and not to mention, if once again for Fasan, if you're in that position, if you're using Earth, and if nobody else, for some reason, nobody else using the overchain thing, because most of the time overchain is the Earth's jobs, right? So if you're in that position, get Octo. You need that, and he's probably your main carry for Fasan anyway in your team, because he does like probably majority of your damage anyway. So yeah. Neo, on the other hand, is also another very, very strong character that got, you know, once you get her to full limit break, the massive upgrade on her is just so damn strong. But the problem is that I feel like you're only gonna use her when it comes to like you need a little extra buff and some sort of if you're just using a lot of like just mainly focus on autos, right? Because her S4 is still really, really good. And if you're using like like say if you're using that Rune Slayer setup, or you know, with Lucia and stuff like that, Neo is really, really good because her S4, and then she gives an extra echo, 100% triple. Not guaranteed though, it's just 100% triple attack. You can still technically get debuffed on multi-attack, and there's a chance you just don't get triple and stuff like that. That still happens, but if you want a character that really just gives you like just pumps in damage and just technically somewhat gives you like permanent, I would say somewhat semi-permanent buff on her S2 thingy. By all means, she's kind of like your utility character, put it that way. It just makes your other characters or party members to be a little bit more consistent, especially when it comes to multi-attacking or damage in general. Yeah, she helps because her buff is really, really nice. Last but not least is Mr. T. Wait, no, not Mr. T. Esser. Esser, Full Limit Break, is probably one of the most used jutens as well in the game currently, because she is really, really fucking strong when you get her to Full Limit Break. Because her S4 is easily one of the most strongest shit that you want anyway, because Break Assassin Team Y with crazy, like very high multiplier and shit, getting you X 100% triple, getting you extra echo as well. What more can you ask for, man? If you're using that, if you want to go for that so-called the whole fire nuke turn 10 or whatever shit is that with Rune Slayer shit, you will want her. You will definitely want her, because she does that, with your Alanan setup, blah blah blah, Shiva crap. Yeah, you know the drill. I'm pretty sure if you're already at this point, you already know that kind of stuff, right? You don't need me to tell you. Full Limit Break Esser is just really, really strong nonetheless. So even though like maybe even your grid doesn't have like Ultima and shit, she doesn't even fucking need that, man. She's that strong, okay? Her S3 and her S3 with a combo with her S2, and then her S4 just makes things just so fucking stupid. But yeah. And last but not least, if you don't give a shit about all that and you just want your gold bar, just pick the fucking gold bar. Or just pick whatever fuck you want. You don't even need to watch this video to begin with. I should have just put this at the beginning. It's okay, you gave me watch time, all good. Thanks for that watch time, by the way. Make sure you leave, like, subscribe, and comment your favorite waifu husbando juten or some shit in the comment. Yeah, just do that, and I'll see you guys on the next video or on stream. Okay, enjoy, bye-bye.